You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes.
Hello, today is Thursday the 6th of November 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. When did I speak to you last? Yesterday. So I'd come back from the writing group and had a nice evening. And today I've been doing something that I've been putting off for, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say, months. And that is getting my house to the point where if somebody entered it who wasn't me, they wouldn't run away screaming, the horror, the horror. So it's just basically tidying up. So I have this, when my mental health isn't in the best place, and I always put a positive spin on the podcast. So there've been a couple of times when somebody said, "Oh, that didn't annoy you as much as I thought it would," when they hear it on the podcast, and then I've gone, "Well, actually," and told them actually how I felt. And I'm up and down like a yo-yo. I think the thing, knowing I may have to have it, probably will have to have a hip replacement and stuff like that, that hasn't helped. But I've seemed to have finally got myself out of that funk today. I think part of it is because another human being has to enter my house in a week. So there's a publisher in town, book publisher called Suddenly Publishing. They run the Wonderful Bookshop. They're linked with the Wonderful Bookshop Suddenly on Sheaf Street that I buy nearly all my books from these days. And they've got a book launch of a book called The Taming of the Bard by an author called P.A. O'Mahony. He's in the writing group I attend. It's T.G. Campbell, who writes the Bow Street Society books, www.bowstreetsociety.com. That's another £10, please. Is coming over and we're going to go to the book launch together on that evening. So it's kind of like, I probably ought to make the house slightly presentable before she gets here. So, it's like there's piles of books all over the place and just stuff everywhere. So I actually would have got round to this a few days ago, but ended up helping out my friend when she had her injury and stuff. So, so I think, I would have done this a while back. So I bought boxes to put stuff in, and what I've been doing today is I've been putting things in their correct place. So I've lugged an absolute ton of stuff up into the loft, including the new boxes. So there were stacks of books near the stairs and stuff like that, so they're all now in the loft. My dining room table hasn't actually been able to be used as a dining room table because a little while ago I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll empty out that cupboard because that would be a really good space to store vinyl. So I did that. And I shoved everything on the on the dining room table with the intention of then, tidying it all up, and I didn't. So all of that stuff. And there's some interesting stuff in there. There's some models, some toys, some Lego bits and pieces. There's some packaging that I really don't need that I just threw away. What else was there? There was this old BOAC education kit that I bought sort of secondhand a few years back that's got all this really interesting stuff about the services that the old BOAC airline used to offer, and that's just been sitting there doing nothing. So that's stored safely in the loft. There was books that I wanted to keep downstairs that have been sitting in a pile on the table because I hadn't found space for them. So I moved some books from the shelves downstairs also into the loft to make room for these books. In fact, that included the complete set of Tani's 7 Bow Street Society mystery series. They've been sitting on the table for a while, so now they actually have an actual place on the shelf. They were on a shelf before, but I took them out, put something else in there, meaning to find a different space for them, and never got around to it. Well, that's now done. So they've got pride of place on the main shelves in the living room. I've done all my ironing. Good grief. I was getting to the point where I was ironing stuff when I wanted to use it. And now, finally, I have ironed everything outstanding. So yeah, I've got a basket here actually, which in a minute I'm going to take upstairs and put everything away. So my ironing is up to date. I had a ton of shredding to do, bits of paperwork that I don't want to put in the bin for data protection reasons. So I started shredding them. Well, I didn't. I got out of the habit of shredding them. And I've shredded so much today. The shredder's actually committed suicide. Well, it hasn't literally, but it seems to be blocked. And it happened once before, and it just took ancient sort of picking away with a sharp object when it wasn't plugged in, obviously. Try and get bits of jammed paper out of it so I can eventually get the wretched thing to work again. Trying to think what else I've done. I've tidied up in the kitchen. I've got, as I say, ironing. There was a cover for the sofa which I washed and then it just stayed in the washing basket. It's now back on the sofa. So, it's not done, but slowly but surely I will have a house that's actually fit for another human to walk in. And I'm recording this about 7:45, so I'm going to do a few more bits and pieces. I was going to write today, but this is more important. I need to get this done. I've still got hoovering and floors to clean and stuff like that, but first I need to get everything up off the floors first. But it is heading the right way. So, yeah, and I shall do a bit more tomorrow, but tomorrow I hope to do some writing as well. It would be really nice to get chapter 17 done tomorrow. So, yeah, progress of sorts in my life. Anyway, that'll do me for today. I'll be back at some point tomorrow, hopefully telling you I've done some writing, but at the very least, telling you my house is tidier and cleaner. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.